Hey, friends. How are all of you today? I think I'm live. It must be, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to wait a little bit for more people to come in the chat. But at the moment, I don't see anybody. Just be more than happy to wait for a bit. Hello. I'm excited. We have some people in here. I'm not sure who's in here. It looks like, is Brenda in the chat? I'm sure Samantha Stevens is here. Hey, sweetheart, how are you? And Gabi, I can't wait to get to know all of you amazing ladies. Get to know you all very much so. My eyeliner is looking a bit thick today. Oh well, it is what it is, and it's kind of crooked. But that's, you know what, we all don't always make everything good. So the other day I had the patio door is open and I'm letting the sun shine in, and I didn't need to use a ring light. So it seems like it's pretty good. You know what? I just realized Maggie is watching TV and I'm going to turn it off so she can listen in. Hey, Samantha. How are you, my friend? I'm just running away for a moment. One moment. Maggie likes to watch whatever I turn on. I usually don't get to watch TV during the day, or I choose not to. Samantha, thank you. Thank you very much. I decided to wear my hair down. I always wear it like in a pony. It's just because it's easy and I don't wash my hair every day. So it just gets pulled back. See, I'm usually like this, or I look like a hot mess and I wear it up, something. But I always, now that it's summer, I always have, well, even when it's not summer, I have sunglasses on my head. They're like my hair accessory. When I worked in corporate America, I had sunglasses on the top of my head all the time. And I realized that I was not the only manager in the organization who wore sunglasses on their head day in and day out. And as I was ready to leave for the day, I had my sunglasses on before I walked out the door, like ready to go. I'm just not a fan of that too much. But it looks like Brenda Meek said, hello, Susie in chat. I hope you get to participate today in our chat. And then Gabi, what a cute little kitty. That kitty looks like serious business, if you ask me. And then Samantha, hello, everyone. Please hit that like button on your way out. Definitely. And if for whatever reason you lost your, if YouTube unsubscribed you, make sure you put that on along with your bells on. Just keep it real. Welcome. You are just making your energy drink of the day. Which one is it? Or what was it called? Very curious and nosy. She has started this great little business of making these energy drinks, which I never heard of in my life, or like a loaded tea shop. Just keep it real. You're so funny. A new one. Maybe you should call it a new one. That would be super cute. Very cute. I love it. But no, they're so good. And sorry, I'm all stuffy. Um, it's because I have the patio door open and it's like spring, but it's chilly. It's probably, let me see here, 65 degrees. Pretty chilly if you ask me. Oh, it's called Cinco de Tango, since Cinco de Mayo. So I think it probably has some orange and pina colada and some other tangerine maybe flavors. That sounds really good. Hey, just so you know, I kind of put um my title as, oh my god, look at the little mommy. On Friday, for those of you who weren't a part of our chat, it really kind of went down a rabbit hole that just melted my heart, and it touched so many other hearts in the subscribers that were here, and it was all about a mom. And we were talking how Michelle, and I'm only bringing her up once, because a lot of you are from the drama community, um, wanted to just add a little bit of potential drama, but the topic of the drama was if she was your daughter or you were the daughter to a mother and you truly needed help, whether you had a good relationship or not, that you would you'd you could text your mom, or you could text your child back and forth and interact about the type of help that you need. And it was amazing because there were some people in the chat who literally, it started with one person, just keep it real, told her story about her relationship with her mom. And another woman, Mirandy, came on the live. And while we were talking about moms and being a mom as being unconditional, it just really, it turned into this amazing thing. Hey, Wandering Scorpio, good to see you. Yes, it had us all texting our difficult moms on Friday. And those moms came back with, I love you, sweetheart. And I can't remember exactly what Mirandy's mom had said, but it was so positive, even though we had difficult moms. And I know Michelle talks about her dislike or her hate towards her mom, but all of these women, and even myself, to text our mom, and my mom's not difficult. Hey, Fancy, how are you, my dear? It's good to see you. That our moms really aren't difficult. My mom can be difficult at times because she's 86 years old. So she deserves to be difficult at times, but all of everybody that was in here, right, we were the bigger people basically, and we all got positive responses back. Absolutely. it was amazing. It really was. And Steve and I were talking about that during dinner. I said, "Oh, I have to tell you about my live." And even though, like, I held myself together while we were doing this, there were a lot of tears shed, and I felt bad because I didn't have a lot of emotion like everybody else. Everybody was crying, I think, but me. And as I retold the story to Steve, I was so emotional because all of these things that everything that happened and all the responses were just, it made my heart happy. It like made my heart sing. It made like, this is all worth it. And it was just, that's about being a mom. And parenting, I think about it, the most common thing that happens when I'm out in public and children are around is like, mom, look at that little mommy. And I've always remembered this comment: the way that you respond as a parent has a lasting impression on your child or a child. So it was, that just keeps that all in my mind. Fancy, what's going on? I'm doing pretty good this morning. You went shopping at Walmart, then came home. You did yard work, and you have a half acre. I hope you have one of those, like, zero turn, is it called? Riding lawnmower. I hope so, because that would be so worth it. I am good. I had a great weekend. I was so excited to come back here today, and I got a lot done. I put the laundry away. I tidied up from the things I didn't want to do yesterday. I worked yesterday. And for those of you, I do work in a small business home decor boutique, and it's called Vintage Barn Chicks. So we're the barn chicks pretty much, and it's an amazing place to work. It's so much fun helping people pick decor items. I could probably, when I show you my house, I'll show you everything that I got at Vintage Barn Chicks, because I've shopped there for the last 6, almost 7 years now, and it's been amazing. And then for me to work there, it's even better. I totally love working there. Hey, Super Snoops, how are you, my dear? Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Snoops, we were just talking about remembering last Friday's heartwarming, heart melting idea on our mothers, and how even when we think we don't have a good relationship with them, or they don't have a great relationship with us, that they actually love us. And like you saw, people were reaching out to their moms, and their moms were responding back in a positive light. It was so beautiful. It really was. Just like this group. And I was thinking about that, and today I kind of want to talk more about parenting our children to be better people. Susie, you know how hard it was for me to text my mom Friday, but it felt so good after I did it. Yes, I know for sure that was really hard. You know what? Let me put a link in the chat. And how did that make you all feel? For those of you that were here on Friday, how did it make you feel to for the weekend? Like, did it make your or have your weekend go better? You don't have to come up if you don't want to, but for me, it made a lot. It made sure that I really made sure my mom knew how much she loves us. And I have an amazing relationship with my mom. Sometimes too much, but it's good. We have a good relationship. And me and my kids, sometimes being the mom is really challenging. And I know, like, we've all talked about, and I've talked to you before about being a parent and raising little people, which are no different than raising average sized children. Maybe a lot of their needs are different, like physical needs. I wouldn't even say emotional. It's just all about being different. And I was talking to one of my besties today. We were talking about our children and children don't necessarily see differences. And it was about a gentleman. He has a YouTube channel, and I can only go through this because his kids, I think it was from Mirandy's live earlier, and how he had fostered and then adopted white children. And we were talking about that conversation from an earlier live, and I'm like, you know what, that's like me with my kids. Olivia at age 5 really didn't know. Like, we just never talk about being little. When my kids were growing up, that's just how they were growing up. My nieces, maybe they asked my sister something like, why is Susie little? Or what if? Um, but nobody really ever talked about that. We just didn't, because I was no different. And okay, Samantha, we'll see you in a little bit. Brenda, I'm glad you came in, and I'm glad you loved the live on Friday. It was so nice. But I didn't teach, I don't even remember having conversation with my kids like, hey, do you know you're a little person? You're going to be different. Kids are going to make comments. Nope. I just looked at parenting when my kids had a question. Then I would answer it, which would be age appropriate, you know? And like Olivia would, I still remember, 5 years old, went to kindergarten. She had been like in preschool and daycares before, but nobody really noticed until she probably got to kindergarten. And we had that conversation. She's like, Mom, you don't need to, I was going to speak at her school. She's like, you don't need to tell anybody that we're little people. Like, it was very serious. They do not need to know. And from a child's eyes, even at 5, talking about individual differences isn't necessarily important. And even putting this channel together, it's more about similarities. We just see the world, we just live in the same world, but some of our experiences have been different. And some of the things I am going to do a series, it's not going to be like every day, but I have taught a class at a conference. I've led workshops, and it was about don't sell yourself short. And for me, it's based off of my size. And through that, I want to do a series about people's perspectives about me and how their interactions with me, whether it's on a friend basis, in person friendships that I have, or what makes us so different, or what really doesn't make us different at all, or how my average size friends, because I'm trying to describe them, average size friends, what was it like when we first met? What was it like? I had no clue. What was their perspective? I don't know. But I thought this would be a really good opportunity to bring people in to talk about themselves, who they are, and how we are in this relationship together. And whether it be a friendship or people in the little people community, like health and wellness, and what their story is about their journey through health and wellness and dieting. And we all have that problem too, no matter what it is. And I think those things, when it comes to parenting, I did talk to my kids about food and, being overweight, and how does that impact you as a little person. I mean, let me tell you, I can probably out eat some of you, because mentally and physically, like, my torso is the same size as the majority of yours. My brain functions the same as other people, and there are things that are so amazing to eat. I can eat a huge portion. Like, for example, Steve and I went out for dinner on Friday night, and we had sushi. And we probably could have gotten away with 3 rolls, but 4 rolls would have made us full. So, of course, we had to eat. And so we have way more similarities than we have a difference. Absolutely. How we think, how our hearts work, our friendships. And yeah, we do talk about that. And it's so true. We really do. Like, what do I love? And that was something that I had thought about. Like, okay, I have food. So those in my family that need to be fed can walk in the door and feed themselves, just in case my live went on for um, 5 hours. Just saying. I filled up their water bottles, so they had cold water, and that was they're good to go. So all my feeding and watering for the day is pretty much done. Hey, Island Girl. Hello, everyone. I hope I'm not too late. Golly, I could eat some sushi. Oh my gosh. Don't you just love sushi? I love sushi. Oh my goodness. I really do. And we like hot and spicy, so it is so amazing. Hey, just keep it real.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Long time no talk.
I know, right? Not since earlier.
How is everyone?
I think everybody is excited to be here. Definitely. I'm excited
Good.
that everybody is here. I feel, you know, this is like a friendship. like a YouTube, building friendships through a different avenue than walking outside or, Facebook. It's just a whole amazing group of people here.
Well, you and I met in a crazy way on YouTube, and
Yes, we did.
a very crazy way that
Hmm.
I'm happy to leave in our past.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. And I think that was God led us to each other
Yes.
through that crazy way. And I really do. It was all intentional.
And I think everything that you and I went through, um,
Hmm.
over there,
Yeah,
kind of, um, what am I trying to say? Made our bond stronger.
exactly.
Because it was almost like sometimes you were having the same thoughts that I was having about certain situations, and
Right.
you're clearly the more outspoken one in your relationship.
Yes, I just feel
And
like it is.
sometimes I would have to rein you in and say, "No, don't say that." But then, you were right.
It
You were
just,
always right, but I was trying to walk a thin line over there. But anyway, my point is, because
mhm,
like you said, God was in it. He was, just like he was in your live Friday. He was in, um, building my relationship with you through those trials that we went through over there.
right
I'm just gonna start saying over there.
over there.
And I think it built our bond,
Hmm.
or made our bond even stronger. And even though we met in such a strange way, we were blessed enough to meet each other in person. And
Hmm.
I can already see, um, you and I at 85, you know, growing old together, maybe in some nursing home. I don't know.
Right.
Hopefully not in a nursing home, maybe laying on a beach somewhere. But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. Hmm.
we were brought together in such a strange way and built such an amazing bond, have been able to meet in person, have plans to meet in person again soon. And I'm very blessed that I was able to meet you. And again, as I said earlier in the chat, we have way more similarities, you and I, than we
Hmm.
do our height,
Right. Definitely.
especially our mothering of our kids. Like, oh my God, it's almost like you and I raised our kids in the same household.
Exactly. Yep. We have children where now that they're adults, everything is an emergency. Exactly. And like Samantha said, that I jumped into the mix through the same strange way.
You did, Samantha, and we're super blessed to have you in our lives. Me and Susie love you to pieces.
Exactly. It's for sure. It's just amazing, and I'm so fortunate and I'm so blessed to have met all of you. Snoops, may I make a suggestion about what you might talk about? Just a thought. Sure. I don't know if you're thinking we should talk about today or tomorrow, but definitely I'm always open for suggestions. I really am. But it's true, like our how we even raise our children now, even though they're adults. And I know there's so many people who, in your speeches, if you like it, might talk about in your speeches if you like it. I'm kind of, Snoops, I'm kind of not getting it.
Yeah, I'm confused too, Snoops. Take a link and come talk to us, Snoops.
Exactly. I can put that link back out there. That would be awesome.
Sometimes text is lost in translation, isn't it?
It is. And when we talk about like the difference of me being a bold person and just saying it like it is, I think it comes to the fact of all you who are Southerners are so sweet, and I'm just not necessarily always sweet. Hey,
There
Sue.
she is. Hey, Snoots.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know that you were
Oh,
talking about it earlier. You said that you give like speeches and not quite seminars, but sort of lectures or something
Yeah,
about.
I've done workshops on don't selling not selling yourself short, whether it was like in a corporate setting, like when I worked in corporate America, or through the Little People's organization. But in reality, it's geared towards anybody it, out there, whether you're tall, thin, thick, we're
Right,
different. And selling yourself short, like myself, I use short as that was what my difference was, and how it's really not necessarily a difference
excuse me.
unless there's a height restriction, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Right,
Hmm.
right. Well, okay, so I don't know whether you touch on it or not. You didn't specifically say it, so I'm not sure whether this is something that you generally touch on or not. But I was thinking, okay, so I've gotten to know a little bit about little people from listening to you, and you have a great perspective on life, just in general. But
Hmm. Thank you.
but about uplifting people who need uplifting, and that is not a short joke. I had to throw that in. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
But I was thinking about the expectations of little people toward the world as opposed to the expectations of average sized people towards the world. Because there has to be a different perspective on the expectations that you would hold depending on your size as well. Because I know that as a heavyset person,
Hmm.
I have my expectations of the world are completely different from the expectations of a person who's a size 4. Do you understand? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense at all?
Hmm.
Because I mean, the expectations and the limitations, obviously, I know you hit on, but the
Right.
expectations would be completely different because you're going to expect a size to be average, or I'm sorry, a house to be average sized, every the cupboards to be 6 feet off the floor, things like
Right.
that. Um,
Hmm.
so the expectations of how you have to adapt to them,
Right.
to everything around you. The
Hmm.
expectations of average sized people, of little people.
Right.
So I just, like I say, I don't know whether that's something you already touch on or not, but it was something that came to my mind as you were talking.
And I don't know if I've really talked a whole lot about expectations. And when I think the first time I talked about parent, maybe I didn't, like when I had higher expectations of my children, I'm sure, than anybody else did. And just because they're little. And
Hmm.
like Samantha said, Susie, maybe people tiptoed around you so much that you grew more strength than assertiveness. Oh yeah, I think people like were afraid, not like afraid and like scared,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't want to like maybe hurt my feelings because I was little. But expectations, you know what? I really need to think about that because you bring up a good point. Maybe you and I could collaborate and do some, like have a live about expectations of our own, of ourselves. And is that different? Is it not different?
I
Are they
can
the
tell
same?
you that I know that Susie's father had great expectations of her. We've talked about that, and
Mhm.
I think you have talked about the expectations your father had of you, Susie.
Right.
So maybe you could talk about that a little more, because I think it really your father's influence and his expectations of you have really made you the very strong woman that you are.
Right. And I do believe that. And I believe that, hey, Mirandy, it's good to see you, my dear. But I do think that his expectations of me, but he never gave up on me. He pushed me harder and harder because he knew I could do it. And so when I started parenting my children, I had very high expectations. But then eventually, as they got older, I could see what their physical abilities were and their assertiveness and different things. And my daughter, Olivia, is very much, I was very much the person who was, here's the crowd, right? I was in the middle. Like I was like the highlight of the crowd. My daughter Olivia stands way outside. She's an observer.
Mm-hmm.
And like my son, his personality is more like mine,
Right.
kind of thing. And for a long time, I would get really upset with my daughter. Like, you need to get out there. You need to make a difference. You need to speak up. You can't be watching in the middle. And I think she noticed that the most. I noticed that the most when she was in middle school because it was middle school kids are so nasty. They really are. And I know I thought that was a myth. And Olivia was on the outside all the time. Same thing in high school. If somebody was having a party, she would hear about it, her friends going, but she never felt like they didn't ask her. Well, she didn't really get close to people because she was an observer and kept
Mm-hmm.
people at bay. And for me, that was very disheartening. I mean, I felt sad, and it was hard for her to have friends. And I mean, now she says only a handful of really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think, I mean, and what people have of me, I hope they have. The average size world has the same expectations that I have.
Well, just recently, Olivia went through a situation, and I'm not gonna, air her business, but because that's not important. Um, but she had a situation where you kind of had to, she's 25, and you kind of had to push her to go and do something and take care of it on her own. And she finally did it. And she succeeded. And I know she was proud of herself. And
Yeah.
she did that because
And Snoops, how do you hold expectations of yourself or of people who are different? It can be in any,
In my of myself as compared to other people.
right.
Um, I guess my expectations of myself are much higher because I have always viewed other people as better than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is it's in me to push myself as hard as I can in order to be as good as other people, as I see other people.
Right.
Um,
Do you feel like you're competitive with other people without them knowing you're competitive?
Not really competitive. It's more a matter of if I'm doing my job and they're doing my job, well, like I'm going back to customer service at Walmart.
Okay.
I know that when I go there, it's going to be that I'm going to want to clean better than I want to. I'm going to treat people better than I not want to, but you know what I mean.
Right.
I'm going to set myself, and I always have, a higher expectation of doing my job well because I see other people doing their job better.
Mm-hmm.
And so my expectation of other people is that they would push themselves that hard as well.
Right.
Um, but then that makes me push myself harder, and I just see it as a cycle of everyone trying to improve themselves, no
Right.
matter. But if someone has limitations,
Right.
um, like someone in a wheelchair, you
Sure.
know, if someone's in a wheelchair, I avoid distraction, if that makes any sense. I don't treat them as someone in a wheelchair because they're just another person.
Right.
And so, but that can be very difficult because you're going to have that slight distraction of them being different, but then we're all different.
And I think that is until you get to a level where you're used to it.
Right.
And like with me, and because I've been in management before, I had my team, my goal was for them to do better than their best. And because we didn't have physical jobs, it was more mental and it was customer service based, but interior because we supported software. So,
Mm,
who my team supported were the users of the software. And I expected everybody to be to work every day. If I give you 100%, I expect 100% in return. Um, I expected when they sold themselves to me as what their skill set were, I expected that skill set. And I also expected them to grow and not just be, just doing
stagnant.
minimal. Right. Like, come
Right.
on, let's go. And they would learn. Like, sometimes I told people, and I kind of told them straight out, look, dude, you've been calling off way too much. And I
Mm,
really need you here. It's just not a good look on you because before you know it, they're going to be after me because I'm not after you. And how can we make this better? How can we make it that you're not calling in like once a week or once every 2 weeks? How can we make that better? Like letting people set also the expectations themselves, you know,
mm,
like I'll just keep it real for an example. Like back in the day when I could run, okay, her legs are way longer. So I know she's going to be able to move a further distance in a
mhm.
faster period of time than to myself. So maybe she takes one step, it takes me to take 2 steps to keep up with her.
Right.
So, and we always I think it's just general. We just want to keep up in general. And sometimes people are like, oh, I forget that it takes you 2 steps to my one. So people will slow down to keep up. So we can all keep up with each other. And I think, but you're right. My expectations of myself is to do better than my best, and my expectations of others is to do better than their best. And I know it sounds silly, maybe not, but if you know 100% is, then for yourself, I would just say, you know what, you got to do at least 100% every day. Some days we're all going to be like lazy or not 100%.
Mhm.
It's like you get out of as much as you give into.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
And I
that's
just
why
wanted to
when
say, ironically, oh, go ahead, Snoop. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go right ahead.
No, because this is my squirrel brain. It's a whole nother subject. So you go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say that one of the main reason that I expect improvement over yesterday, do better today than you did yesterday. And the reason that I do say that is because you, like you say, you get more out of it, but you also give more to the people who are watching you and who do expect, well, like customer service. I've worked in customer service pretty much all of my adult life in one way or another.
Right.
And I see it as the harder I push myself to do better, the more I'm going to give to the person I'm trying to do that for.
Right.
And they're going to come back with better as well. Because
Exactly.
if you get upset and you start chewing out or yelling at or cussing out or whatever, then the other person's going to get defensive and they're going to come back with the same thing. But if they're doing that and you stay calm and collected and you handle the situation, 9 times out of 10, they're going to calm down and they're going to give you better.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
just an example. I mean,
But I think you're right. 100% right.
it's
It's
just
true.
the same with your job. The better you do your job, the more rewards you're going to get, whether it's monetary, like a raise, or whether it's your boss treating you better, giving you a better job than what you absolutely hate doing. They might look at you and say, you know what, you've been doing so well. I'm not going to have you do that job. I have something else for you. And not literally say it out loud, but it will be going through their brains. And even if it's an unconscious thought, they're
Right.
still doing it because they see that in you.
Right. And
So,
I think it's the same thing as being a parent. As much
mhm,
as you give into that relationship with your child, then you're going to see that in your child when they're also outside of your care, outside of your home.
right.
It looks like Mitten Mama's here. Hey, Mitten Mama.
I Mitten Mama. I'm gonna
That's
hop down.
okay.
I've got to, but thank you. I just wanted to make that suggestion. Maybe it was something you could use, maybe not.
Well,
But
you know what? I did write it down. So,
well, thank you.
sure, you're welcome. No, definitely. We'll put that as a topic of discussion. I really think it would be great. And thanks for sharing.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you. I love you, ladies. Have a great day.
Love you.
It's, I was just going to say that, because I do know a lot about your children because we've become so close.
Right.
I can tell that they've watched their mother and they have, adopted some of your attributes because both Olivia and Caden have very strenuous physical jobs.
Right.
Like, quote
Mhm.
unquote, I hate to say this, but it's just a fact. What most people would assume are average size people jobs, and they both work very hard. They're very successful at what they do, and they happen to have jobs that I, as an average person, would not be able to do.
Right.
I wouldn't.
Exactly. Because Caden works a very incredibly physical job that it is like he works with concrete. And they do foundations. So that's what he works. And then Olivia works for Amazon in their distribution center. They hired her over the phone and said, "You can start tomorrow." And Olivia's like, "Great, how exciting." She walked into a distribution center, which is all physical labor, and their eyes got like this. But they knew right away. Amazon is very, I guess, well known for their accommodations that they make for people of all different types of people. So they would find something for everybody to do, and she does. And she works very hard. She works third shift. So people
Y'all, and Olivia is tiny.
tiny.
Like,
Yeah.
she is very tiny, and this girl works very hard. And
Hmm.
I mean, I'm older now, so obviously I couldn't do what she does, but even 20, 30 years ago, I probably could have done it, but I would have hated every minute.
Right. I would have
And
too. I would have been like, oh, this is boring. Oh, look who we
yeah,
have
she seems to love
backstage.
it.
Yeah, she really does. Hey, my dear.
Hello.
So good to hear your voice. You must be feeling a bit better.
Um, um, mm, the
Yay,
headache has,
nay.
the headache's not as bad, but I'm gonna have to see my pulmonologist. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the asthma is now an issue. So, and I think it all stems from allergies.
Oh, I'm sure. The
But
change of
I didn't,
season.
yeah, I didn't come up here to whine and complain. Um,
Oh, that's
but
okay.
um, I was going to say when you were talking with Snoops and just keep it real, we definitely have a way to go to do better,
Right.
but we already are doing better than, say, 20, 30 years ago. Do you remember when you would see someone with any kind of disability, anything,
Uh-huh.
you would automatically speak in a louder voice? Like
Oh,
that was
sure.
going to make up for them being in a wheelchair, or it was
Right.
something that we just did automatically for whatever reason. And then we
Right.
learned that we didn't need to do that. Didn't mean they couldn't hear us just because they couldn't walk.
Right.
Um,
Or show them a
so,
picture of
right.
like your sandwich, like they didn't understand you.
Right.
You
Right.
know, just like when you hear an accent
hmm
of, I
You
don't think
talk
it's,
louder.
you talk louder, like
Yeah.
they don't
Thinking that.
understand. Like that'll
Yep.
happen.
Yep.
Exactly. But that's
So,
true. I've done that myself. Somebody is speaking to me like in Spanish, right? I don't know Spanish. So then I respond, I don't speak Spanish. And then they'll talk to me in English. And then I'll even talk louder to make sure that they understand what I'm saying when they already do.
right. And then we realize we don't need to be talking louder. We need to learn the language, whatever.
Exactly.
But let me just, if I can just make a comment, I know that I have a very distinctive voice. I've been told that before, that people
Right.
can tell if I'm on panel. So I'm just going to go ahead and come out and tell you all that I have Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease that affects the digestive tract. It causes a lot of inflammation, which can lead to obstructions. When I get an obstruction and I'm in the hospital, they put NG tubes down my nose and down all the way on through. I'm 63 years old now, and I've had Crohn's now for 43 years. So we've had 43 years of NG tubes every time I have a bad flare up or an obstruction. And it's done a lot of damage to the inside of my nose and my throat. Hence the very distinctive voice. So I apologize in
Oh, no.
advance to anybody that
They're like,
I know
oh,
it's a
that's
distinctive
Samantha.
voice. I've been told that before, but I've never explained it. Yeah, but I've never explained why I have this distinctive voice. So
It
that's my
sounds
story.
like you have a sore throat.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it's
people when
actually
you
a
come
lot of scar tissue and a lot of scar tissue in my nose.
Yeah, I'm sure.
NG
But
tubes
that's
are
like,
no fun.
no. And then they put big ones down and then little ones. And ugh,
Yeah, it's always big for an adult
for
with,
you, I'd be like, nope, you're not doing that. Figure out a
well,
different way or put me under and do it.
they can't. You have to participate as they're putting it in, believe it or not. You're screaming in pain, but you have to be able to listen to them and swallow when they tell you to swallow and all that. So
Oh,
I've got this permanent, I need surgery is what I need in my nose and in my throat, but
wow.
I just would rather not have surgery.
Oh, sure, to remove the scar tissue and the buildup and
Yeah.
from overtime. Oh, I know how that
Anyway,
is.
but I didn't come up here to tell all that. It was just kind of explain the voice thing for
But
anybody that.
people have questions all the time, and I would love for you some to share your mom's story. That
Mhm.
is super sweet, and we should do that sometime. Um,
It's
and
an
like how
interesting
you
story.
and I got to know each other and our
Mhm.
differences and how we really, like how you said, Susie, how do you know all about that? I mean, I'm not going to give that secret away. Yeah, when we do, I would love
It's
for
not a
us to
secret. I
talk.
just have to decide the best way to talk about it. That
Exactly.
what you and I have talked about and that you know so much about just
Right.
from because you study.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a whole, I don't know how to approach that at this point just yet. But
Because it's hard, and it's a hard time in this country and in the world too, as a big difference. But I was just looking. Oh, Mint Mama says prayers for you, honey. Well,
oh,
we
thank
do
you,
know
Mindy.
that's so
I
sweet.
I appreciate that very much. It's a battle, I'll tell you. It's a battle that beats you up from the inside out, and I definitely am feeling it. But
Right. And your
and that's
Crohn's,
why my groceries were delivered right to my kitchen. So,
no, I
and all
get
I
them
had to do was
delivered.
put them away.
I get them delivered too, right to my kitchen, because I
Mm.
don't like grocery shopping
Uh,
outside of the Walmart app.
I don't have the strength anymore like I used to, but
Oh yeah.
that's a
And
whole.
you have a difference that may not be a physical difference, but an internal difference. But yet,
Right.
there's so many similarities that you and I have, and even you and Just Keep
Well,
It Real. And yeah,
the way that I just keep it real. You want to tell how the three of us kind of came to be?
You can. I don't mind if you do.
I think a lot of us used to be in Christie's chat, and
mhm,
and all of us were affected in different ways. Sometimes it was very positive, sometimes not so much.
mhm,
And she had said something to me that Just Keep It Real said
Which was
months
a
and months
lie.
ago, which was not true, but I didn't know that.
Right.
And in the meantime was talking to other people saying what I would call ignorant and malicious names referring to Susie being a little person, saying things basically about me and about Susie and about Just Keep It Real. And when I first saw Just Keep It Reals live, I said, oh, there's her email. I can contact her now and ask her for myself if this is true. And so that's how Just Keep It Real and I kind of connected.
I'm glad you did, because we've become good friends. I just hate that it took you so long.
I didn't have a way to get in touch with
No,
her.
I know. And that's what I hate, is that
I know.
it just took so long, whatever the reason, because you're out here believing, I got to watch my words.
No, I was careful. I
That
didn't
person's
just.
lies, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure you were, every time you saw me on this panel or that panel, or when I went live, you were probably like, that bitch. You know what I mean? In the back of your
No, I
head.
was,
I mean,
like
I
I
would
said,
have.
I was still saying hello to you in chat
You
and giving you
were.
a heart. I was still being nice until I knew for sure if it was the truth or not the truth.
yeah,
Yeah, and you did that, and we had a very long conversation about it. And
And then you told me
yeah.
that Susie had some things said about her, and anyway, so the three of us kind of ended up becoming friends on the. I haven't met these two
Yeah.
ladies, although they've met each other, but we've had lots of phone conversations, and
But we're going to.
there's a
yes,
nice
ma'am.
sisterhood forming here, and But I
We're
just
going
love
to,
this. I
Samantha.
just
We're going
love
to meet
this
in
whole
person. I
chat.
just know it. I just
I
know
know
we're
we
going to meet
will.
in person. I know
But
we
I
will.
think the whole chat in this channel is extraordinary. Everybody in here
Me
is
too.
just extraordinary. Everybody
Yeah.
is open and sharing and feeling comfortable. And I mean, thank you to Susie for that. And
Yes.
it's just been, and then of course you can't beat what happened on Friday because it was totally not planned.
No.
But it left
No.
everybody, I think, feeling a little bit warmer and fuzzier when they left than they did when they came
Absolutely.
in.
And I think it
And
was a good jump start to the weekend. Oh, there's a couple new people in here. Bubby Sue. Hey, I'm
hey,
glad you
Bubby
found
Sue.
us through Mirandy. How sweet. And Gemini Mama is here. So good to see
Gemini
you, my dear.
I can't see the
Comments.
can't
And
see the
Gemini
chat yet.
Mama said, good Monday afternoon, spicy little, and just keep it real. And Samantha and the whole chat. And Minton Mama said, I'm blessed. We made a point to chat because when we finally spoke, we talked for hours. It's true. You know, we all meet under different circumstances. And it was because of one individual who I felt used all of us. And because of that misuse of friendships, that we just all grew together as friends. And like I always say, my friends are not just my friends, but they're my family. Hey, Rapper, good to see you.
Hey, Rapper.
Welcome in here.
Hey, Rapper.
And then this whole family came to a whole new level on Friday. I mean, that was just, like I said, extraordinary.
Exactly.
And beautiful.
Beautiful.
So,
It was very much so.
yeah.
It definitely was. Well, I just noticed I'm been on here for over an hour, and I
I'm
don't
gonna
want
hop.
to up all
I'm
your
gonna hop down. I just wanted to jump up and say the thing about how we automatically talk louder.
That was so sweet. Thank you.
Anyway, but I'll tell
Love you,
my
Samantha.
love you too. Love you all.
I will talk to you soon. Bubby Sue is in here. I've never met you before.
Hey, Bubby Sue.
How sweet. She
I've
came
seen
in,
Bubby Sue on Mirandy's channel. Bubby Sue is sweet.
and I take it Bubby Sue is also from the South. I take it. All these
I
Southern
don't
people.
know. I keep telling you, you need to move to Georgia, girl.
I know. Oh, something was said in Mirandy's channel today about that Talladega Nights. Who's that dude?
Ricky Bobby.
Oh yeah, Ricky Bobby. You know, our family. I was thinking about this
I
today.
love that movie.
Last year, my niece, we do a family prayer on Thanksgiving, and my niece did that prayer from
Yeah.
Talladega Nights, and we were laughing so hard. Like we were trying to control ourselves. And my mom says at the end, Sammy, that was a really good prayer. I didn't know. I was just like, oh my gosh.
That is the funniest movie. I can quote almost every line from that movie. I have watched it
I
probably 20 to 30 times.
Yeah,
He is so funny.
he is. That is one of my favorite movies. I just like, but if I could only remember lines from movies, like I don't. Like I'll hear a song and I won't know who sings it or the name of it, but I can sing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Oh, I know every line from that movie. I promise you I do.
it's a great movie. It really is. But I, like I said, it's been over an hour and I need to tend to Maggie. And it's about
Hey,
that time.
Maggie. I love you.
Can you hear? I turned off the TV. It was on when I started my live, and I'm like, oh no, because Maggie watches TV. She was watching Criminal Minds. I'm sure she learned a lot, but I
She's
turned it
listening to
on.
us right now, and she's like, oh my God, Mom, who are you talking to?
Oh, do you have to talk so long, Mom? Yeah, I'm sure that's
Hey, Maggie.
she can hear you.
I know
She's
she
kind of
can.
right by me, kind of like
I
where that
know it.
pillow is. Okay, the pillow by this hand, she's just a little bit over.
I love you, Maggie. My little magpie.
Yes, definitely. Mitten Mama, thanks. Definitely do the thumbs up on this channel, subscribe, share with your friends. It's been so I've enjoyed this so much, and I my goal is to be consistent, like a couple of days a week, and I just love it. And thank you, Just Keep It Real, for joining us today, and Snoops and Samantha. It was good that you all came up. Oh, Mitten Mama, thank you so much. You're so sweet. I know I don't have my hair pulled back in a pony today like I usually do. And again, Rapper, it was good to see you, and Bobby Sue and Gemini Mama. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in a day or two. How does
Love
that sound?
you. Yep.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.